Welcome back to 360 Sports. I'm your host, Emily, alongside Adam, Daegan, and Giustino, and today we are here to bring you all things NHL. We're first going to head off to the west in Utah, where the Mammoth are off to a hot start this season. Notably, this is the Mammoths' second year in the NHL and their first year being known as the Mammoth, as last year they were known as the Utah Hockey Club, and before that, the Arizona Coyotes. They are off to a remarkable start, being 9-4. Did you expect this from them coming into the season, and do you think it's going to last?
I did not expect this from them coming into the season. I mean, they just have such a good young team right now. They're one of the fastest teams in the NHL, and I think that really is one of the strongest characteristics they have. Mikhail Sergachev, who they got from the Lightning, is absolutely outstanding. He's one of the best defensemen right now in the entire league, and then Logan Cooley is insanely fast. We saw him at Minnesota a few years ago, and he was absolutely outstanding for that team, led them all the way to the Frozen Four. This year, 8 goals in his second season. He's been absolutely outstanding, and I don't know why the Lightning ever got rid of Sergachev, Daegan.
I don't know either. It was definitely a surprising start for the Mammoth, I'll say that. I did not expect to see them getting off to such a hot start. I think Nick Schmaltz has been really good for them, which has been surprising. And then they got J.J. Peterka over the summer, and he's been great too. And I don't know if I'd necessarily put them in Stanley Cup contender status yet,
No,
but
they're still young.
Sergachev has 2 cups. He's got the experience. He could lead them somewhere. So I think they have a bright future.
Yeah, you all shouted out Nick Schmaltz. I was going to shout him out too. He's their team's leader, 18 points so far. And then you have Clayton Keller, who also has 14.
Yeah.
Both players, the center duo there, playing really well. I like what they've done so far. I took a look at their schedule a little bit extensively. They split their games with Colorado so far and beat Winnipeg. And those are the 2 teams that are right around their area in the Western Conference right now. So, yeah, I'm surprised, just as surprised as you all are, to see them succeeding. And whether they'll keep it up, I have no idea. It's still very early on, but, I mean, you love to see it.
Yeah, they're a young team that, just like I said, they skate really fast. There's just that's a recipe for success for any team, and they're getting surprise performances. You guys talked about it. J.J. Peterka, I'm sorry to Brennan Kirkpatrick, but he's a stud, and that's a guy that the Mammoth really needed to kind of help bolster their lineup, because they had a lot of talented guys in their rotation, like Cooley. You guys talked about the other ones like Schmaltz, and they just have a lot of scoring depth from all their different positions.
Yeah. I'm excited to see what Cooley's going to do this season. I've always thought he was an amazing player, so I think to see him in Utah, I'm excited for that. I would say that if they do continue to be a contending team, their one problem is going to be the Avs. We've already seen it already, and how many games have they played them? 3? They're struggling against them, and if they do make a run for the playoffs and for the cup, the Avs are going to give them a run for their money.
Yeah, the Avs are going to give them, a really tough test. They're a really experienced team in the West. But fun fact about Logan Cooley, he's from Pittsburgh, and his favorite team is the Washington Capitals.
Now, how does that make any sense?
I don't know if you knew that, but he is his
How does that
favorite
make
team.
any sense?
I don't know. You're going to have to ask.
I'm from Pittsburgh, and I'm a Phillies fan, so I guess I get it. But,
yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah,
maybe he was a Bears fan. I know a lot of people who are Caps fans because of the Bears, so.
Yeah, Hershey, I guess that makes sense,
Yeah, it's not too far from Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
True.
Well, we're going to take a step back from the Western Conference and head over to the Eastern Conference, where competition is really tight right there. It's still the beginning of the season, so it's normal to see a smaller point spread, but right now there's 6 points standing in between the top seed and the bottom seed. Why do you think that the Eastern Conference is so competitive this season, and do you think that point spread will spread a lot or continue to stay small?
I mean, right now there's so many surprising teams. I mean, the Penguins, for one. Me and Adam are both Penguins fans. There is no way they should have 8 wins at this point in the season. Justin Brazeau's been outstanding.
Yeah.
Malkin's been turning back the clock. I mean, they have a team that just somehow is playing better.
Yeah.
And then you also take into account that there's just so many young teams in the Eastern Conference. Like the Sabres are a young team that are coming up and coming. The Canadiens are a young team up and coming. The Red Wings have to win this year, or else everybody's gone. The house is clean because their project has not worked at all so far. And, it's weaker than the West. They just don't have the top-end teams. Florida's really hurt right now. So, I mean, it's anyone's conference at this point. Like, Florida, the way they're trekking, they won't even get into the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree. The Lightning also started off pretty slow. I think they had a 4-game losing streak. But they turned it around a little bit later, and I think that's probably what we're seeing with a lot of teams in the East is slow starts, maybe like not being prepared as much for the season. Especially the Panthers, they had a really short summer and all the injuries that they've got now. I can't say I'm surprised that they're struggling because Barkov's out, Tkachuk's out, you know. It's going to be a big race in the East. It's going to be very tight, I think, for a while.
Yeah, teams don't win 3 straight cups.
Right. It just doesn't happen.
It hasn't really happened, and it hasn't happened in a while.
Yeah, since the 80s, I think.
And the
They'll
last
always
team that
get
really gave a
plagued.
good chance was the Lightning. When
Yeah.
they almost won 3 straight. So I mean, you have to be really good injury-wise. Really lucky.
A three-peat's going to be hard in any sport you're in, not just hockey.
Yeah.
I mean, looking at the East, the thing I have my eye on is the 6 teams that all have 14 points right now. Columbus, the New York Islanders, the New York Rangers, Tampa, Ottawa, and Buffalo, all at 16. Then you have the Devils, Penguins, Red Wings with 18. The Capitals and Panthers at the bottom with 13. 2 teams you really did not expect to see at the bottom. Canadians in first, 19 points, 9-3-1 record. I mean, it's just shocking to see the order, but it's also cool to see all these teams so close together. And it makes you think, like, in a couple months, is this really going to be the order we're going to see? Like, I feel like there's going to be a lot of shifting, and maybe Florida comes back and they're at the top again.
Yeah, the Canadians are really sneaky.
Yeah.
Cole
They
Caulfield's
are.
a great player. Martin St. Louis, a great coach, young coach. And the Canadians, like, they were good last year. They just couldn't get over the hump. You know, they're a young team. They really didn't have any playoff experience. Now, I think they're going to be a team to watch out for in the Atlantic.
Hopefully.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. I think what you were saying, Adam, like, it's so early in the season. Like, it's easy to jump to predictions based on teams of, like, how they've been playing. But it's so many times we see the second half of the season teams completely falling off who absolutely dominated in the first half of the season. And that's just how hockey works. There's 82 games in a season, and there's so much time. How many, like, the most a team has played right now is 15. Like, like, there's so much time left. And I would argue that the teams who are at the top right now in the East, the reason they're there and the reason it's going to be competitive is because of the young players and even some of the older ones who are currently in the league. You have Hughes with the Devils, Suzuki and Caulfield with the Canadians. Malkin is showing up this season for the Penguins.
I don't
like,
know how. I don't know how.
Yeah,
Him and Carlson are playing outstanding.
Yeah.
Don't
and
know
even
why.
Crosby, I think he's leading.
Crosby,
I think he's second in points. Malkin's first, I believe.
Yeah.
And then, like, with the Leafs, you got Nylander coming up. Like, there's just a lot of amazing players in hockey right now, and the skill level is at a completely different spot than it was 10 years ago. And I think that's part of the reason why we're seeing such a close race, even though it is early on.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot.
Yeah, so we're going to stay in the East, but we talked about this team a little bit. Moving down to the back-to-back Stanley Cup champions, they are struggling right now. They are 6-6-1. Why do we think this is? I think there is a clear answer, but let's talk about it.
I mean, it's clearly injuries, but, you know, you love to see it.
Yeah.
You know, the
Yeah.
Panthers, like, they won back-to-back cups. I
Yeah.
mean, you as a Lightning fan definitely
Oh, I
loves
love
to see
to
it. But,
see
like, the
it.
thing about Florida is that when you have to rely on guys like Brad Marchand and some of these other older veterans to score most of your goals, you're not going to win many games. Sam Bennett's out there by himself right now. Barkov's out. Tkachuk's out. Like, they don't have the top scoring talent that they've had in years past. They don't have 4 lines that they can run out and be confident in every single night. And, you know, the rest of the Atlantic's younger, like, to be, you know, quite honest with you. The Florida Panthers are not getting any younger. You know, they're getting more hurt, actually, every single year. Tkachuk's been hurt the last 3 years, and they still have won back-to-back cups. So, I mean, we'll see whenever he comes back if he's able to make a difference. But, you know, without those star players out there, and when you have to rely on bottom 6 scoring depth, it's not a good sign.
I think especially Tkachuk and Barkov out, I feel like those are the 2 players that, like, define the team's mentality the most. And not having them, they're irreplaceable. It's not someone that you can just, like, go to the trade deadline and be like, pick up some guy to replace Barkov. No one's going to do it.
No.
There's not another Barkov. And there's definitely not one that's going to be up for grabs at the trade deadline.
No.
So, and then with the rule change for LTIR, they can't go into the playoffs, pick someone up if Barkov's hurt. It's just not going to work the same way anymore. And they did that with Tkachuk last year, but it's not going to happen this year. So I can't see them being the same team without Barkov and Tkachuk. I mean, they just don't have the depth anymore.
Yeah, like Giustino was saying, you really can't rely on Brad Marchand. He's got 7 goals and 6 assists so far this year, but he's also posting a -4 on the ice.
Yeah.
Then you have Sam Bennett at a -8, Sam Reinhart -6. You got the vets that are just underperforming, not showing up. And like we said, Pietrzak being hurt, those guys, you really struggle without them. And you'd like the Panthers to be better, but yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's surprising. Another thing that I noticed was they had a 4-game losing streak, October 13th through the 18th. Lost 5-2 to the Flyers, 4-1 to the Red Wings, 3-1 to the Devils, your team, and 3-0 to the Sabres. So, yeah, 4-game losing streaks like that could really hurt you. But like I said, it's early on. I'm sure they'll pick it up, especially when their guys come back, but not a good start.
I think when Pietrzak comes back, we might see a sort of rebound, maybe them even coming back from such a hard start. But he's not projected to come back till December at the earliest. And I know Pietrzak, and I know he can bounce back from an injury like that. We have seen that in the past, especially in the playoffs playing through. It's just, you don't always know how a player is going to come back from an injury, and he's a strong guy, but it really just depends. And then Barkov's still going to be out the rest of the season. So
that's the other
is
thing. Barkov's out.
Pietrzak enough? Yeah.
I mean, the thing about the Panthers, it's like they're going to make trades and they're going to figure it out. If they sneak into the playoffs, every other team in the NHL should be scared.
That's true.
Let's just be honest. If they make the playoffs, Marchand's a playoff machine.
Absolutely.
Kachuk's a playoff machine. Maurice has won back-to-back cups. He's a machine. Like, they're going to win a lot of games. Whoever they play in the first round. Like last year, Tampa was such a talented team. That's the thing. They were such a talented team last year, but they ran into a playoff machine. You just can't do that. Like the Dodgers.
Yeah.
You don't want to run into the Dodgers.
I know that story.
Well, what makes hockey different from other sports is its versatility, its rigorous season, and the skill level that these athletes have. While not impossible to compare them to other athletes, it is difficult, but we have some takes for you. So, Giustino, let's start with you.
I'll go with mine first.
All right.
So I went with NBA and NHL, two leagues that really aren't that comparable whenever you think about it. But the pick I went with is Draymond Green and Tom Wilson. So for this pick, I think it really, hones in on the fact that both are champions. Tom Wilson's a Stanley Cup champion back in 2018 with the Capitals. Draymond Green, obviously a multi-time champion with the Golden State Warriors. And the thing about both these players is they're not their best players on their team. They're really good at grinding out minutes, and they both, at times, were the villain on their team. Draymond Green had been ejected so many times in the NBA back when the Warriors were winning the NBA Finals that it was just getting repetitive every single night. And Tom Wilson has been known, Penguins fans know this, a lot of other fans know this, he's been a dirty player for most of his career. And he's really resurrected that. He had 31 goals last season, 64 points, which is really impressive for Tom Wilson. He's really picked up the offensive production. And, both these players are going to be Hall of Fame players. In my opinion, Tom Wilson, a little bit more to work towards to get to that Hall of Fame level. But I think both of these players came into the league as bruisers, and they're both leaving an impact as offensive scoring threats, which is why they're both very comparable, and they've both been on teams that have won championships.
I think that is a valid comparison.
That's really good.
Tom Wilson for sure gets the villain arc a lot.
Yeah, and
100%.
Draymond Green definitely has gotten the villain arc over the years.
Yes.
Not as much anymore, but he's definitely been like the guy that just the NBA likes to call penalties on or call fouls on.
Yeah, and that is very much true of Tom Wilson.
Yeah. And they're both champions. So
Yeah. All right, Daegan, let's move on to you.
Okay, so I went with NFL and NHL, and unlike Giustino, my pick was two who have neither of them have been champions. I picked Dak Prescott and Austin Matthews as my comparison because both of their teams are always completely overhyped, and they are always completely overhyped going into the playoffs, and they always crash and burn. And even in the regular season, neither of them, well, Austin Matthews has had great regular seasons. Dak Prescott, not so much lately. But in the playoffs, basically, everything just falls apart. And that is similar to the Leafs and the Cowboys. And many people do say that the Leafs are the Cowboys of the NHL. So that is why I picked these two players.
I was going to say, the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Dallas Cowboys are identical teams. Identical. They are the same team. They can get out of the first round every 4 to 5 years, but then boom, crash. They're just not. And it took the Maple Leafs 24 years to even get to the second round. If Stephen A. Smith was a big NHL fan, he would be going off on the Toronto Maple Leafs every single day. But he is a huge NFL guy, and he just goes off on the Cowboys instead.
Yeah.
I just have to say, Daegan, this is like an amazing pick.
Thank you.
I saw like
I
you
love it.
said it, and I was like, this is like spot on. Like
Perfect. Yeah.
they really both just like choke.
Like they're
a
both
lot.
like they're both on teams.
Artists.
They're both on teams that the rest of the team's not very like Prescott's having a good regular season. Matthews always has a good regular
Yeah.
season. The rest of their team disappears.
Yeah.
In the playoffs.
Yeah. The only thing that you could argue is not similar about them is I think Matthews is more liked than Prescott
Yeah,
is.
exactly.
That's
I
true.
think Matthews
Which
is
is-
better too.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
Which is a
like
shame.
within
Yeah.
the sport, Matthews is definitely way better than Prescott is.
I personally love Dak Prescott.
Yeah, Dak Prescott's a great guy.
Yeah.
He's a great guy. He's
He's
on my
a
fantasy
great,
team.
he's a great guy, but on the field is a different story than off the field.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
both have terrible defenses.
All right, Adam, let's
All
hear
right,
yours.
let's do this. Okay, we're going with two of the greatest of all time in each sport here. My choices were Sidney Crosby and LeBron James.
here
Both
we go.
players were first overall picks in the early 2000s. LeBron in 2003, Sidney Crosby 2005. Both players had a dream of winning a title for their city. Sidney Crosby for Pittsburgh, LeBron for Cleveland, both got it done. Both players multiple-time champions. LeBron's done it 4 times, Crosby has done it 3, and they both each went back-to-back one time. Now, another interesting fact I found is Crosby is the current all-time leader in points among active players in the NHL, and LeBron, of course we know, is the all-time leading scorer in NBA history. That's a record that's probably never getting touched. But anyways, moving on even further, I mean, they're both getting up there in age. Crosby's 38, LeBron's 40. But we know both guys are still performing at a high level. Crosby's got 17 points so far this year, 9 goals and 8 assists. LeBron hasn't played yet this year, but I mean, it's LeBron James. When he comes back, we know he's going to be great. So, yeah, that's my comparison. 2 of the greatest in each of their sports, and I'm blessed that I've got to watch both players play. So.
Adam, I'm going to blow your mind again.
Yeah.
Do you know that LeBron James has a stake in the Fenway Sports Group, which owns the
I do.
Penguins? You do
Yes.
know that. Okay, so I didn't blow your mind on that one.
Not completely, but-
like that makes it even more of a good comparison.
Yeah.
Like LeBron and Crosby are both players that the only difference is LeBron's been to different places
Oh, of
many
course.
more times. That's like the
Yeah.
one difference. Besides that, I think the persona they have around the league is
Yeah.
very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 goats for sure.
Yes.
When I was choosing mine, I was going to pick maybe Connor McDavid and LeBron. So like I think I like this pick of Crosby over McDavid though because he's been there longer.
Yeah.
He's a
Yeah.
more veteran player.
McDavid, no rings. It's like Ovechkin.
Yeah.
It took him so long.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, well, I'm going to move on to mine. I'm also changing up the league a little bit here. With my pick is going to have to be Connor Hellenbuck and Bryce Harper from the Philadelphia Phillies. All right, so both of these are amazing players in their respective positions. I know Daegan might disagree with this a little bit, but what they really struggle at is the postseason. Their postseason performances are quite awful. Hellenbuck is one of the best goalies right now. He has won the Vezina Trophy the last 2 years in a row, and I'm sure he's looking for his 3rd. But last year in the regular season, he had a save percentage of .925, which is very good. But in the playoffs, that dropped down to .866, which is like quite awful. He got pulled from multiple games and just overall helped helped the Jets make a 2nd round exit. And we have the same story with Harper this year. This year he had a decent regular season, and then in the playoffs he was just awful. We saw that he had 3 hits and 15 at-bats, and then also helped the Phillies to leave in the 2nd round, and the Phillies had to buy the 1st round, so arguably that might be a little worse. So both players overall, their team just plays to the level that they play at, unfortunately for them, and plays down and makes early exits.
I will say though, I know Adam was nodding his head. He's kind of disappointed with the Harper pick,
It's
but
all
I
right.
mean,
It's
the
a
thing
good
about
pick.
Harper is though, like in years past, he's performed in the playoffs. Hellebuck has
Yeah.
never really performed in the playoffs.
Yeah,
he hasn't
yeah.
been able to perform. And the thing about the Jets is they have a good young core, but they rely on him so much. Like he
Yeah.
has to be like Vezina level goaltender in the postseason, and he has never been.
Right.
Yeah, nothing against Bryce Harper. I just don't like Connor Hellenbuck.
I know, I know. We had talked about that in the past. The other thing with Harper too is like you said, he has had some really great.
He's had some good
seasons.
moments.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like when the
Against the
Phillies went
Padres.
to the World Series in 2022, Harper had his best career postseason appearance. He had what was it? 349 batting average. Like
Yeah.
that's insane. So.
Yeah.
Hellebuck. Maybe this is his year. Maybe this is his
Hey, he's
year.
got to do it eventually.
Probably not.
Yeah, he really does. All right, switching up from comparisons, we're going to focus on one player specifically and how they've had a strong start to the season. Giustino, let's start with you.
All right, we'll go to mine first. I'm going with, just so I don't pronounce his name right, Cutter Gauthier, and that's going to upset a lot of Flyers fans that are here. Luke Stefanisko is very upset that I picked this earlier, but I'm going with him because he has been absolutely outstanding this season. Lightning quick start to the season, and as he puts a picture of him at the Flyers game, makes sense. He showed me that earlier. Cutter is not ultra soft. He has 10 goals and 6 assists this season, 16 points on the season. He's been absolutely outstanding. He had over 20 goals last season for the Ducks, and now they have a coach in Joel Quenneville who has been there, done that. He's gotten teams to the postseason. So many other players on the Ducks have performed really well this season, and Gauthier is the leader right now. 10 goals this season. He had a hat trick last night. Right now he's just been one of the hottest players in the league. People are I'm sure people are going to be surprised that, he's going to end up having probably like 30 goals this season, but, he's continued to progress, and he's only 21 years old.
Yeah, I watched that game last night, the Panthers and the Ducks. He is something else.
Yeah,
He's
they
a
had
great
7
player.
goals last night, the Ducks did.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Ducks are, I don't want to say strong because that's just not correct, but he is a player, Cutter is a player that can make a difference for the Ducks. And teams like the Sharks and the Ducks need young key guys like this that is going to help their team out. So I like this.
Yeah.
So for my pick, I also went with an Anaheim Ducks player. I went with goaltender Lucas Dostal, who has been very good. He was actually the 3rd star of the week this week in the NHL. He's got great stats. He's been leading them to a much better season than I think anyone anticipated for the Ducks. And he just beat the back-to-back Stanley Cup champs last night, so I think he has a great future. He's young. The whole team's young, and I think he's going to be a great goalie for them. Maybe another like John Gibson.
Yeah, and John Gibson over the last few years of his career with Anaheim kind of fell down the rabbit hole once they started to get really bad. John Gibson from Pittsburgh, and then this is a really good pick. I think the Ducks have been looking for a new young goaltender for a couple years now, and he's kind of filled the void.
Yeah.
I feel like we haven't seen that many young, great goaltenders
Not
either.
over the last
Not over
several
the last
years,
few
no.
years.
I think especially the hard part about being a goalie is it's a lot of pressure, A, and B, being a goalie has a lot more different skills than goes into being like a forward. So I think it just takes longer to develop, which is one of those reasons that we haven't I heard a goalie in an interview one time that they were like saying something about how goalies don't really have to skate, and they're like, we have to have the best skating ability out of anybody.
That is true.
Yeah, so I think that's a talent that takes time to develop, which is why we don't often see that.
And you know what's funny? Tristan Jarry, Penguins goalie, he was so good when he started. You know how you said it takes long for goalies to develop?
Yeah.
Very good at the start.
Yeah.
Fell off the face. He's been terrible the last 2 years.
Yeah.
He's had a good start to this year, but now he's hurt.
Yeah.
You want to know something ironic? Guess who my fast start player is?
Who is it?
Tristan Jarry.
I just said he's had a good start to the year.
Yeah.
And then he just got hurt.
Did he?
Yeah.
I did not know that. But in 7 games this year, his record is 5-1, 2.6 goals against average. Yeah. But he has a 91 save percentage, which I gotta say I'm astonished. As a Penguins fan, last year I went to the game, I think early January, where they lost in the shootout to Columbus. I think it was where they had the 3-1 lead, and Jarry just blew it. And the whole way home, I was like, you gotta get him off the team. And they gave me my wish. They put him on waivers, and you barely heard from him the rest of the year. And I cannot fathom how he has been this good so far. I'm astonished. Jarry's been great, despite being hurt. He's proven the doubters wrong. Whether he keeps it up or not when he comes back, I don't know. But so far, so good. I love what I've seen from him.
Yeah, he just got hurt. But last year, if you remember, around spring break time, the Penguins went 4-0. During that week stretch, we were home for spring break, and Jarry allowed 1 goal in those 4 games, and then he went back to being terrible. So Jarry has a lot of hot and cold moments. He'll give up. He led the league in shutouts 2 years ago, but he also a 3.2 goals against average. So he gave up 6 goals or 0 goals.
I can't say anything about Jarry because he did score a goalie goal against my team.
Oh, yeah,
so.
I do remember that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the few to do that. Goalie goals are my absolute favorite. They just look so happy when they score a goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. My pick, a former Ducks player. We were talking about him earlier, Trevor Zegras.
Oh,
You got to
boy.
put some respect on his name, even if you don't like him as a person. It's his first year in Philly. He has 15 points in 13 games played, which if he continues at that pace, he's on track for a 95-point season. Personally, I don't think he's going to get there, but I think he's going to put up some career high numbers. His career high, I believe, on points on a season is 88. So I think that the move to Philly was good for him. He's back with his best friend Jamie. I think they're starting to have good chemistry, and Zegras is a key player for them this season so far. He's leading the team in points, and his last season with the Ducks in 57 games he only had 32 points. That's a significant increase already. So in 13 games, he already has 15, and last season in 57, he had 32.
The thing about Trevor Zegras is he's a good offensively skilled player, but just let's get ready for whenever the season gets underway. We're getting into January, February, and he has to play defense.
Yeah.
Whenever he has to play defense, I worry for him. But he has found a good home in Philly. I hate to say that, but
Right.
He's found a good home there, I
Yeah.
guess.
He absolutely has.
Every player has somewhere that they're going to flourish, even if it doesn't seem like the right fit. Like Vitek Vanacek, the Devils was not his place, but he is flourishing elsewhere. So.
Yeah, he's flourishing in an ugly uniform. That's
Yeah,
fine.
where is he at now? I know he was with the
he's
Panthers.
in Utah.
Is that
Is
where
it
he's-
Utah?
Yes, but he's not their starting goalie.
No, he's the backup.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and he backed up for the Panthers
Yeah,
last year
he
too.
did.
But he did really good.
He's been good this year too.
Yeah, I know. Why couldn't he play like that with the Devils?
Yeah, I was mainly talking about Zegras and his Flyers jersey.
Yeah.
He went from a Ducks jersey that's sick to a Flyers jersey that's
Yeah.
just plain
He also
orange.
went from a really nice place to
Yeah, he went to
Philadelphia.
Philly. He went to Philly.
Well, it wouldn't be Wednesday without hockey tonight, so we're going to go through some of the games tonight and what are our predictions for each of them. So first, we're going to start with a team we've already talked about a lot, but that's going to be the Mammoth and the Maple Leafs.
I see this one being high scoring, similar or not similar to last night where the Mammoth won 2-1, but the Maple Leafs, they always score a bunch of goals. The Penguins just blew a 3-0 lead to them 2 nights ago, so I think it'll be a close game, but I think Mammoth win in a high scoring game.
Yeah, I've got the same. I think the Mammoth are going to take this one. I think they're a really great team, and the Leafs have been not so great lately, but maybe they'll figure it out and it'll be a close game.
I'm also going to go with the Mammoth. This was my hardest prediction to make. The Maple Leafs have a 6-2-1 record at home, and the Mammoth are 5-3 on the road, but I'm going to go with Utah to keep up their momentum and get this one. But I will admit it's going to be a tough test. Toronto's a tough team to play, especially on the road, but I think they get it done.
Yeah, I'm also not a surprise. I'm going to take the Mammoth here.
there we
Same
go.
reasons. I will say the
Everybody-
only thing they have against them is that they're going to be in Toronto, and that is a crazy environment to play in. But
Maple
I
Leaf-
like the energy.
Maple Leafs are going to win tonight then, since we all picked Mammoth.
No, it's good.
probably.
Yeah, and we're going to get clipped. And yeah.
Yeah.
Moving on, the Blue Jackets are going to Calgary today to play the Flames. What are our predictions?
I still believe in the Blue Jackets, and they're playing the worst team in the league right now, the Calgary Flames.
Yeah.
So, I think Fantilli scores tonight. I've been waiting for him to break out. He's on my fantasy team. I hope he breaks out soon.
Yep, I've got the Blue Jackets too. I'm kind of surprised that the Flames are last in the league. I knew they weren't great, but
Dustin
I
Wolf has
never
been
thought they
bad.
were that bad. Yeah, I mean, he doesn't have much in front of him,
No,
to
he
be
doesn't.
fair.
No, he
so,
doesn't.
yeah, I'm taking the Blue Jackets on this one.
Like you said, Daegan, I was very surprised to see how bad Calgary is, and yeah, I'm not going to waste much time here. I'm easily going Columbus in this one.
No surprise, same. I'm ready for Fantilli too.
I am too.
I think he's a great player. It's about time. We're how many games in for them? I think they're close to 14.
Yeah.
It's time for him to
He's
start
gotta
breaking
break
out.
out, yeah.
And I think he will.
He
I
will,
do
yeah,
think
he
he will.
will.
He's just having a slow start, which is understandable.
Yeah.
All right, our last one we're gonna do is the Blues heading over to Washington with the Caps.
Hey, the Caps, they've been up and down this year. Right now, they've been a little bit more down than up, but I think Jacob Chychrun scores tonight, and the Capitals win at home.
Yep, I've got the Capitals at home too. The Blues have not been very great either. I think they're towards the bottom of the league too, which was also
I think they're like second.
That's a
Like
surprise.
second to the bottom. Like
that's a surprise too.
Yeah.
I didn't expect that either, but yeah, I'm definitely taking the Capitals.
Yeah, both teams not looking as great so far. Washington's 3-4 at home, with the Blues being 2-3 on the road. I'm also going to agree here and go Washington. We're all agreeing so far.
We're going to be 0-3 after that.
Yeah.
Well, pressure's on.
Guys, you might be surprised by my pick, but I'm also going to go
All
Washington.
right, all right.
Same exact reasons. I mean, there's only so much I can say about it, but the Blues are disappointing this year.
They're very disappointing.
Like the Jets, I feel like they kind of fly under the radar for me. They're not always a team that I quite pay attention to, but I'm going to have to take the Caps.
Yeah, but I mean, Jordan Bennington, they need another, thing during the he needs to go over for the Olympics and just play for Team Canada, light it up. He'll come back. The Blues will be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, that is all we have time for today. Make sure you come back tomorrow for another episode. For Emily, Adam, Daegan, and Giustino, thanks for watching.